Hello YouTubers! Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I've been wanting to make this video for a few months now that I think about it. This is me trying to describe my mental and emotional state during my phantom pregnancy. I kind of want to go into a little detail, and during that time I had correspondence through email with a woman. I want to thank that person who corresponded with me through email, even though I won't be mentioning her name specifically. I do, if she happens to watch this video, I want her to know that I thank her for corresponding with me, for brainstorming with me, pretty much being the only person I could completely talk to about what was happening to me. So we'll just call her K, as in kitten K. I don't want to mention her name for privacy purposes. I don't know how comfortable she would be with me telling YouTube or anybody her name specifically. So we'll just call her K. I also want to express that when I first started this YouTube channel, I created an email specifically to start this YouTube channel, and I didn't use my real name. I actually went by the name of Molly Prince at that time, and it took I think it was after my negative ultrasound. It took about 3 or 4 months for me to change that. I think it might have been a full year, or the beginning of this year I changed it. I'm not really sure. Actually, I can't really give you a specific timeline on that, but I did go by the name of Molly Prince because I was kind of scared by the reactions. People, oh, there's flies. There's 2 flies in here. I didn't know how people were going to react to me, and for my safety and the safety of my family, I figured I would just go by a name, an alias, and kind of, filter out people who were, trying to be negative towards me or just mean in general. But I have my phone here with the emails that I sent back and forth with this person who we'll call Kay. She emailed me first. After I uploaded, I think it was my second or third video, or even my first, I don't remember. But she emailed me, and so I immediately responded because that's exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for people to give me information if they've maybe experienced these things, or if they were experiencing them, to kind of, brainstorm and talk about it. I just needed to not feel so alone in this experience. And so that's the whole reason why I started the YouTube channel, was to hopefully get more people to possibly talk about it and or contact me in order for me to feel like, I'm at least trying to figure stuff out. But one second, I'm going to look through this really quick, and I'm going to hit the important points in the email that I really want to express. So one second. So this was in the first email I wrote. First I told her what my real name was. I told her that I had actually used a fake name and that my actual name was Crystal. And then I said, thank you so much for sharing your personal truth with me. I myself have been experiencing very strange symptoms that are very close to pregnancy related for about 3 months now. I exclusively have been breastfeeding my 8-month-old and have recently noticed a small decrease in my supply. Not sure if that is pregnancy related or not. Maybe I'm about to have my first postpartum period. This is also confusing, but I just can't shake the feeling that I am pregnant, which, if this turns out to be a cryptic pregnancy, I live in a very small town, so we will pretty much be all on our own with the delivery. So this was a part of my response. At this time, I was leaning more towards pregnancy than anything else, to explain my symptoms. 1 second. And I think one of my second responses, email responses to her, I mentioned that I think I have a tilted uterus. And I think that having a tilted uterus can maybe push baby more towards the back and cause pressure in the hips and vaginal area and cause back pain, which I had been experiencing. I had been experiencing intense pressure, an intense backache, a lower backache, and like pressure and pain in my hips and vaginal area. And then I went on to say, although some doctors will say the shape of your uterus doesn't matter once you hit a certain point in the pregnancy, which is true. But see, I'm trying to find reasons for my symptoms, and, you know, pregnancy is a really good way to explain away these strange symptoms that I was experiencing. I was aware that I was still healing from my C-section. I was only 8 months postpartum, so I was still technically very much healing from my C-section surgery. But with the development of a lower backache, and then, you know, the kind of like shocking vaginal pain, like the sharp pains that happen during pregnancy started happening to me a lot, which now I look back and think, well, that was probably me still healing. But there was something else I want to mention. Let me find it. Hold on. This one was very interesting. I said, I hate when the doubt starts to creep in and I start thinking about my big fat positives with both my boys. Those positives were so dark, and they were within seconds after dipping the test. Like I literally, as it was going across, you could see it turning positive. Then I remind myself that every pregnancy is different. I try to keep any negative, doubtful thoughts out of my mind. The key word is try. So this is me having thoughts that I'm not actually pregnant, and this is all in my mind, and me quickly shutting those thoughts down and saying, nope, 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 there's no way. You know, I'm trying not to think those negative thoughts, right? So later on, I think this was several days later, I emailed with a response saying, anyway, so today I swear I have been feeling some little pokes, and I'm really hoping it's not all in my head because of what happened yesterday. I just feel pregnant. My symptoms yesterday, burping when all I had was water, a drained feeling, like my body felt so drained, feeling full in the uterus, slightly gassy, increased cervical mucus, tender breasts, thirsty, stiff backache, dizziness, waves of nausea, and increased sex drive. So I looked it up, and yesterday I was approximately 12 weeks and 4 days pregnant with my second son. I wrote on Facebook. The first time I distinctly felt him move, and you won't believe it, I was exactly 12 weeks and 4 days pregnant. I am in shock right now. This is either a huge coincidence or I really am pregnant, and felt both babies move at the same gestational age. I will attach a screenshot of my Facebook status from January 2015. So in January 2015, I was pregnant with Sawyer. And at 12 weeks and 4 days, I felt him move. I felt him flip. As I was sitting down, I felt literally something jumped in my stomach. Yes. Hi. And that's him there. And it was it literally made me gasp. At the time, during my phantom pregnancy, I thought I was 12 weeks and 4 days. And I felt what I thought was baby movement. So to me, I thought, okay, I cannot believe that I felt him move when he was in my stomach, and the phantom pregnancy somehow gave me movement exactly on that same day, without me knowing, without me looking, without me planning. I had no idea that I was actually 12 weeks and 4 days pregnant when I felt the phantom baby move. when I felt the movement, I was like, whoa, that feels like a baby. Hold on. So when I felt those phantom baby kicks, I was like, oh my gosh, am I even far enough along in this pregnancy to even be feeling this? So I quickly went to my phone, went to my app, figured it all out, and realized I was 12 weeks and 4 days along. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that that's the same exact time I felt Sawyer move when he was in my belly. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, this has to be a pregnancy. I have to be pregnant with my third child. We all know now it was a phantom pregnancy. It was phantom kicks. There was no baby kicking in my belly. But I was very, very much convinced. It felt exactly the same. Crazy. Let me find one more thing. Okay, this is a really, really good one. I wrote, the mornings are when I doubt myself the most, because that's when I feel the least movement. It picks up as the day continues, and by the end of the day, I know it's a baby. Then it starts all over again the next morning. Laugh out loud. It will probably be like this until I give birth. I was the same with my other pregnancies. The more movement I felt, the more at peace I could be. My second baby moved all day. Like Sawyer moved constantly, which was very reassuring. So that's what I wrote. I mean, there's, of course, it's a very long email, but that's just a section of it. I was very, very, very convinced that the movement I was feeling could not be anything else but a real live baby. A real live kicking, rolling, stretching little baby, like one of these little guys, you know, a real live baby. That I was completely convinced that the movement I was feeling every single day, and it would get, you know, like I said, it would get more intense as the day continued. Later on in the day, it was like very, very intense. Okay, please stop pushing that. 1 second. So this goes a little bit more into what I was thinking. I was very much wanting to confirm my pregnancy medically. So I did make an appointment. I said the nurse scheduled me to see my regular doctor on the 26th. So I'll be waiting for that. I feel regular movement. I get regular round ligament pain. I get occasional Braxton Hicks contractions. I can literally feel my uterus expanding. We shall see what she says. By then, I will only be bigger, and baby will only be bigger because baby grows. So we shall see. I'm kind of glad that I have to wait. My sister, who is my best friend, I'm an only child, I've expressed that, but my best friend, who I call my sister, couldn't believe my blood was negative. Laugh out loud. I've been sending her regular I've been sending her regular belly pictures. She can't believe how pregnant I look now. I will be 19 weeks tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it's the breastfeeding that's keeping my tests from being positive. I'm still pretty much exclusively breastfeeding. My nursling will be 10 months and 3 days, and he doesn't seem to find any interest in slowing down anytime soon. So yeah, 1 second. Yeah, so I made an appointment. I talk about how I feel regular movement, how I'm getting regular round ligament pain and occasional Braxton Hicks contractions, and that I can literally feel my uterus expanding. My best friend / sister was also, you know, because I was sending her regular pictures of my belly about once a week, and I was growing, you know, pretty much exactly the same rate I grew with both my pregnancies. My belly got very round, very hard. It literally felt like a pregnancy belly. My husband would come up behind me and he would feel it. And he would be like, And he would even wonder because it felt so much like a pregnancy. So let me read this one. The subject is, I am so pregnant. So that's the subject of this particular email. I decided to name it, I am so pregnant. Let me see, which one was it? Hold on. So I found it. This is what I wrote. And I really don't remember writing this. So, yeah. Morning, Kay. Over the weekend, I came to realize I am so pregnant. And for some reason, I feel it might be twins. I feel so much more movement now all of the time. I told my husband this morning that I'm about 95% sure I am pregnant. The movements have increased and I can feel my uterus expanding over the weekend, probably because I finally accepted it. I was in shock all yesterday and still a little bit today, but overall, I am still excited. I am just realizing the first trimester is already over. This pregnancy is going to feel so short. We decided we are going to get a fetal Doppler to confirm, and when we find a heartbeat or heartbeats, then I will go in for blood work. Hopefully, we'll get the Doppler by the end of the week if we order it today. I am so glad I can stop obsessing over my symptoms and concentrate on growing healthy babies. I wrote that plural, babies, B-A-B-I-E-S. I was convinced I was having twins. My views of pregnancy, labor, and delivery have changed so much in the past 3 months that I'm not sure how much I want a doctor to be involved in my prenatal care or my labor and delivery, to be completely honest. I don't want them stressing me out about my blood pressure. Like the last 2 times. I feel like this is so much more relaxed for both me and baby, for my husband and I to monitor the prenatal care and maybe just go in for the anatomy scans and maybe a gender reveal. I haven't decided if I want to know the gender yet. The whole pregnancy has been a whole surprise. Why not just wait till the birth to find out what we're expecting? I am having a little pain in my incision as my uterus expands, but the babies seem happy because they sure love to bounce around constantly unless I'm sleeping. For now, my energy is still slowly returning, which is making keeping up with my boys much easier. If my hunch is right and I am pregnant with twins, holy miracle. How are you feeling? Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Thanks for all your support. You knew from the first email I was pregnant. Love, Crystal. P.S. I plan on continuing to breastfeed as the cramping when my son nurses in the last 24 hours has calmed down and is not as bothersome as before. My goal is to breastfeed until his first birthday, like my first son. Sawyer will be 1 in July. Hopefully I can go that long and don't begin having supply issues. I'm hopeful. So this reminds me that during this time, during my phantom pregnancy, when I would breastfeed my son, I would have uterine cramps. My uterus would start contracting. And that's a lot of the reason why some doctors tell women who are trying to conceive to not breastfeed or to stop breastfeeding because it causes those uterine contractions. Now, I had never experienced those until right after the deliveries of my son, and then it went away. And then it started up again during my phantom pregnancy, which just made me think I was pregnant even more. Like, all of a sudden, I just started having uterine cramps. I went months without having them, and then I started having them again. And so I was like, this has to be a pregnancy. Where are these symptoms coming from? I don't understand. The only thing that explained it was pregnancy. So I'm going to read you one more. 1 second. Let me find it. So I actually made a list of symptoms as they were happening, and I included them in one of the emails, and I would like to read them to you guys just in case you guys are experiencing any of these symptoms and maybe thinking it could be pregnancy related, which it could very much be. However, it could be phantom pregnancy related as well. Let's go through the symptoms. I had increased sense of smell that started very early on. I started getting dizzy spells, fatigue without doing very much. Like I would wipe down the counter and feel exhausted. I could sleep all day long, feeling weak if I don't eat when I'm hungry, mild cramping, tingling in breasts into the upper armpit, so in here, tingling feeling, tingling sensations. Sensitive nipples from 6 to 8 weeks, but thought it was from yeast overgrowth. Occasional headaches, acne breakouts around my mouth and chin. I was slightly bloated. Very, very stiff lower back. Feeling warmer, almost swollen. Bleeding gums, veiny breasts. Like a lube vaginal sensation. I guess this might be TMI, but a lot of women will get like a gush of cervical mucus. I would get that like sometimes every hour during my phantom pregnancy. Air bubbles coming from out of my vagina. Now those two things really made me think I was pregnant. I was producing cervical mucus in like gobs, like a lot. And I was used to because I was still breastfeeding, like I've expressed. And usually during breastfeeding, you don't produce cervical mucus. Breastfeeding dries you up down there. So it was very, very, those were two symptoms that very much made me believe that I was actually pregnant. And it wasn't a phantom pregnancy or all in my head. It was actually a real baby growing in my belly. The shooting pains in my vagina also made me think that I was very much pregnant, and having a heavy feeling uterus in my pelvis region, it just felt very heavy and tense. And now that I think about it now, it was probably just me healing from my C-section and just from birth altogether, pregnancy altogether. Just being pregnant, you have to heal from those things. So I know that I said that I was just going to read one more, but I just saw that I have a email. I sent an email to Kay with the title, I am not pregnant. Let me find one of the passages and read it to you. So I'm just going to read a couple short little paragraphs. It says, I asked her if she's still pregnant, and then I said, so I had an abdominal and pelvic ultrasound done last Friday. My uterus was found empty and of normal shape and size. My organs are healthy and nothing abnormal was found. I am not pregnant. I am relieved. Now we can go ahead with the plans we had made for the summer and the rest of the year. I can concentrate on getting my pre-baby body back. I was trying to be very positive in this email. Like I said, I had it done. I had the ultrasound done pretty much a week before sending this email. So I had a whole week to process what had happened before responding to Kay. So I was trying to put the positive spin on it, because I didn't want her to feel bad for me, because I kind of felt bad for myself. I didn't want her to feel like that maybe she had led me on, or that, maybe she can find fault in, I just wanted her, I didn't want her to feel sorry for me, I guess, which, I should have allowed myself to feel sorry for myself. This was a loss. I thought I was pregnant and I wasn't actually pregnant. I really tried to just stay positive about the situation instead of trying to process the situation. So I go on to write anyways. So I still feel movement, but now that I know there is no baby, it feels more like muscle twitches and muscle spasms. I guess my body is still adjusting to the C-section and pregnancy, post-pregnancy. Maybe my organs are still settling. Who knows? I'm starting with nutrition, and I've decided that I'm going to give becoming a vegetarian a real go. Because the symptoms have persisted even with my uterus empty, I'm going to fill in the blanks and hope that nutrition will help me solve the problem from the inside. Anyways, how are you? How are you feeling? Talk to you soon, Crystal. So yeah, it's not a very long email. I pretty much said I'm not pregnant. I'm going to start with nutrition. I tried to, talk about the things that I was looking forward to now that I know that I'm not pregnant. But, honestly, I didn't really give myself that full... I didn't really allow myself to process it as a loss. And over the course of making these videos, over the course of this year, because I pretty much started to focus on my healing from my phantom pregnancy at the beginning of this year. Prior to that, after my negative ultrasound, I was really basically focused on healing my body, not my mind. The beginning of this year, I was focused on healing my mind because I had already started to heal my body. My body was on its way to health and wellness, and so I had already figured all that out. So I started to really concentrate on my mind and my mental and emotional wellness. And just within the last 4 months have I really started to process my phantom pregnancy as a loss, and kind of mourn the situation, allow myself to mourn the situation. It was a very unique experience, not like any kind of loss I've ever experienced before, because it was an imaginary loss, I guess. The baby was non-existent. I thought it existed for 5 consecutive months, but in fact it was a figment of my imagination, along with physical symptoms that were either there prior to the phantom pregnancy and just got exacerbated or developed after I started having the thoughts of pregnancy. Either way, the baby itself was not a real baby. However, I have to allow myself to really think about the fact that at that time, for those 5 months, I was truly convinced that I was having my 3rd child. I was trying to physically, emotionally, and just overall prepare myself for being the mother of 3 children. The symptoms were very, very real. The symptoms were very persistent, and they continued, and they not only continued, but some of them, got worse or got more exaggerated during this process. So it only contributed more to the thoughts that this was a real life pregnancy, that there was a real live baby or babies in my belly. Like, I think it was, what I said, I was 19 weeks. I was very, very convinced that I was in fact pregnant with twins, because the movement was so constant, and it happened on both sides. So I was convinced it was twins. I know now that it was just my intestines. That's why it happened on both sides. That's why it happened constantly. It was my digestive system. My intestinal tract needed to be healed. Anyways, so I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an insight, actual emails that I wrote during those 5 months. It gives you a real insight and direct look at what I was thinking, how I was processing my symptoms, how I was processing the pregnancy, how I even tell stories of how my husband reacted, and just like the symptoms that I was experiencing. I can't remember those now off the top of my head, but I'm very glad I did send those emails, because it's it documented how I felt. And there's a lot more. I mean, we're talking about like super long emails. We're talking about like, some of them are like 12 paragraphs. So yeah, but so those were just little sections of them, but you can get the general idea of my mental and emotional state during that time. So I hope this video helps somebody. I hope the symptoms parts help somebody. Maybe even just consider for a day that they could possibly be experiencing a phantom pregnancy. Maybe you want to say, maybe you want to start with an hour. Maybe you want to start with a half an hour. Maybe you just want to just start with the question, could what I be experiencing actually be a phantom pregnancy and not a real pregnancy? So like I said, I hope this video helps somebody. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. You can email me. It's in the description box, or you can private message me on Facebook or Instagram. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of me. And yeah, so be well, be healthy, stay blessed, friends. Bye.